Happy Tuesday. What's going on, people? Happy Tuesday. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Say hello, say hello, say hello. Let's talk immigration. Hello, finest Shandy. Shalaf Yalewa. Hello, Mr. Michael. What's going on? Hello, Illinois. Thank you. My girl sent me, y'all. I was still eating it. I'm telling you, she sent me. Is it shish kebab? Is that what it is? But it is just, girl. I don't know how you do it, cause don't expect me to cook anything that's any your way. I ain't doing it. I'm just not doing it. Sorry. Um, Xfinity and this crazy blacking out of my internet. This is getting on my last nerves, as you can tell. But anyway, say hello when you come in. Tell me how your weekend was. Because remember, Tuesdays is like our Monday. Because no, from the weekend. But today was a long day. So, but not as tired as I was last time. But anyway, hi everyone. This is Attorney 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕 Olale, immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. Got an immigration case. If it's a case stop that we handle, we can and do represent immigration clients regardless of the state you live in. So I had quite a number of people reach out on Thursday, asking, was it Thursday? Yeah. What was Thursday? On Thursday. So that was the 26th. And people were like, at least someone was like, I kind of like spaced out or trying to gather my thoughts. So if you notice that, that's because my dad passed away 8 years ago, October 27th. So that was the next day after that. So it just usually throws me off. People say, time heals. Time heals, and time heals in the sense of you learn to adapt, you learn to deal with it. It doesn't necessarily take away the loss and especially when you have, like in my case, I had, not called his bluff, but not blowing him off, but he was like, okay, come visit me. This was, I think, a week before he passed. And he was like, I need to see you and all that. Like, hey, because 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, I'll see you in December. Like, I'll see you Christmas. No big deal. I don't think it wasn't a week after that. So I still live with that guilt, and so it doesn't make it easier each. It's like a reminder each year. So that was what was going on. So thanks for those who noticed. But life happens, and we're all human, and we all react to our situations and all. But anyway, we thank God for His blessings. We thank God for it. I know he's proud, and I know he's smiling down. The funny thing is, he was the only one when I was about to open my law firm. He was the only one who knew that I was going to open my law firm back then. So, and that's it. And since my dad passed, no kidding, y'all. Since he passed, I either see the number 1111 or 111. Started the very next day, October 28, 2015. The very next day, I saw it. My phone, I can never forget. My phone was in my bathroom. Nowhere, there was a needle on my bathroom counter next to my phone, and it was 1111. And for the last 8 years, today, I still saw 1111 this morning and 111 this afternoon. The last 8 years, if I need confirmation of something, I'm thinking about, which way to go or something, I see it. And it's almost like him speaking like, hey, I got you. So that's my consolation. But anyway, that's that on that. But anyway, if you need to contact our office, our number is 334-341-4475. Visit our website at olalayalawfirm.com. Very, very easy to browse information there as far as what we do, testimonials, resources, visa bulletin, all of that. And once again, it doesn't matter what state you live in. If you've got an immigration case, if it's a case stop that we do, we can represent you regardless of where you live. So make sure you check us out. WhatsApp, same number, 334-341-4475. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe, follow, share, all of that good stuff. Let's talk immigration, everyone. So, what are we talking about tonight? I want to talk about documenting evidence to fight fraud. Documenting your evidence so you can fight immigration fraud. Okay, so it's like I've had quite a number of consultations that have got to do with USCIS alleging a 204C bar, meaning that they're suspecting that the person or the client entered into a fraudulent marriage, or the one thing I've seen recently is the scorned spouses calling USCIS to allege that the intended immigrant, actually, it wasn't a real marriage. They entered into marriage just for the green card. They paid them, and more is happening based on the spouses asking, giving ultimatums, asking for financial gain, and the immigrant saying no, and then that is the way they're using to now get you to either do what they want to do, or if you refuse to do what they want to do, it's a way for them to get you out of the country, just like they promised. So what do I mean by documented evidence to fight fraud? Whenever you have a situation, let's back up a little bit. Whenever there is reason for USCIS to believe that a marriage may be a fraudulent marriage, there are some indicators that will let you know if you're being investigated for fraud, meaning if your marriage to the citizen spouse is suspected to be just for green card, basically a sham marriage. Such factors will include, for instance, you have a first interview and it doesn't go well, in the sense of you have so many discrepancies, your answers are all over the place. USCIS has discretion to bring you back for a second interview. Whenever a second interview is done, you already know that that's more or less a Stokes interview, and you most likely be separated. And the whole point of separating you is because they want to see whether or not your answers will still differ, and be able to say, yes, we suspected this. That's one factor that will let you know, or an indicator that USCIS may be investigating you for fraud. Another indicator is if I always advise, you've got to do a FOIA request of your records. If you've ever filed anything with U.S. immigration, please have a copy of your record. If you've got a first case that was denied based on insufficient bona fide evidence, and now you file a second case, please note something. Before you submit that case, preferably before you submit the second case, get a copy of your file. Submit an electronic request to USCIS. It's very straightforward, but it's advisable for you to have an attorney review your file, because fine, you get your records, but what do you really know you're looking for? When I do a FOIA request, I do a review. I know exactly what I'm looking for, and I can pinpoint and tell my client, hey, this is my concern. This is what, has me worried. This is what USCIS is alleging. And if there's nothing to worry about, I'll let you know, conversely as well. But that would help you to determine whether or not, because there are some things that USCIS the officers will not give you during your interview, but then they will have it in your file. And because you've got a right to Freedom of Information Act, under the Freedom of Information Act, which is what FOIA is, to have access to your records, there are some things, unless they claim it is national interest and national security, for the most part, you will have access to your record. And you'll be able to see what they may have noted. So officers always know, whenever you go for an interview, they make notes. They're writing something down. Whatever the notes they're making, whatever they're typing in, it's got to be part of your record. And that's something you have access to. So you will be able to see whether or not they have made allegations, or they intend to make allegations, or potentially that they're investigating that this marriage may not be genuine. Another indicator is if USCIS pays you on an unannounced visit. Whenever you have an interview and that interview is still pending a decision, sometimes they allow time to go by because they're going to make unannounced visits. And I've said this several times, and it happens all the time. time is, it's not like sometimes they forget the case. From account people here, sometimes they're like, okay, Christmas, and they come New Year and they forget about you. Most times, however, they haven't forgotten about your case. They just want time to pass so that they can do an unannounced visit and let's see whether or not you're actually genuinely in a relationship with your spouse. So those are things you have to look out for. But some of the greatest things that lead to them making allegations of fraud is the person you're married to. Whenever you're married to someone, and it happens a lot, start documenting evidence to fight any potential allegation of fraud. How do you do that? If you've got, I'm not saying don't trust your spouse. That's not what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, that's why we have the option of filing for VAR. You file for VAR because there's been there's been incidents in the marriage that have become threatening, abusive, maltreatment in your marriage. Most of the time, I get people say, "Ah, sister, I'm on evidence. I'm gonna record anything." I get that. Most of the time, you're not going to have that. But it's not just about being able to prove the abuse case. It's also about being able to have evidence that may help you to disprove allegation of fraud. If you've got a spouse who makes threats to you about your immigration status, if they say you have to buy me this car, you've got to pay for this, you've got to take my mother and I on the trip, and you say, hey, listen, I'm working my butt off every single day, I can't afford this, and they say no. And the next thing is about, well, I'm going to call immigration and tell them this is a sham marriage, because it happens all the time. Don't just take that and say, you know what, they're just, angry and that would blow over. If you've got now, before you start, before you start to do that, understand that each state has their own recording laws in the sense of there are some states that are one party, two party recording laws. In my state in Alabama, for instance, as long as you are a party to that conversation, the person you're recording doesn't have to know that you're recording them, as long as you are a party to that conversation. There are some states there is a two-party recording statute, meaning that the person you're having the conversation with, regardless of whether or not you are part of that conversation, the person must be put on notice that you're recording them. Most states are one party. So in that case, if there's something that is brewing up in your marriage where the person's making threats, they're making threats, I'm going to call immigration and you're going to write a letter to them to tell them it's a sham marriage, get that record that. Everybody's got a smartphone. Everybody's got, you've got a smartphone, you've got a camera on the phone. Record that. If they send you texts about wanting to withdraw your case because they're just mad at you for no reason, keep those screenshots. Because I've seen cases where this spouses will write immigration and allege that it was a sham marriage. What would you have when that happens? Or they decide to withdraw their petition claiming that you married them just for the green card. And it's not true. How do you disprove that? The way you can disprove that is if you already have evidence to show that this person has had a pattern of threatening you with doing that, and they actually follow through on their threat. And here's the evidence that documents all that you have been through. And not only would you be able to fight and disprove that potential fraud allegation, because then USCIS knows that these things happen. But if you've got nothing to be able to fight on your own behalf, then it's going to be more or less like, there's a guy that he is currently married to somebody else, right? And he was previously married to someone else, filed his paperwork. She wanted him to buy her everything and the whole world. This guy was working, I think, 3 jobs at a time. And she decided, okay, she's married a Nigerian prince, and so the Nigerian men are supposed to take care of their wives. She said she wasn't working. He has a sick mother at home that he's taking care of. He's got his 2 kids back home he's taking care of. She didn't care about that. And the one time that he told her, no, this is not, sorry, Megan, this is someone I currently represent. One time that he told her no, she decided she was going to write to immigration, called them, they told her to come in, gave a statement saying that he paid her, I think she said it was $16,000 or whatever the case, an outrageous amount that the guy didn't even have for a green card, and it was a lie that her mother knows, all of that. And then she withdrew her petition because the case was still pending, right? They got divorced eventually. This guy married somebody else. He actually started a family with this lady. He's got a new child with this lady. She filed for him. Guess what? They have filed an I-130. I believe by the time they came to me, 4 times. All 4 times had been denied. Why? Not because they didn't have good faith in their marriage. They have, I mean, by the time you have a whole human being with somebody, how much more good faith do you want? But because of his previous case where she alleged that he married her just for the green card. And because of that, USCIS never sent him, they never sent him a decision saying he has been barred by 204C fraud allegation. They only sent him a denial of his 485 based on the fact that the I-360 petition, I-130 petitioner had withdrawn their petition. The very first time he knew about a 204C fraud allegation was when his new wife filed an I-130 for him. And they said, we're not concerned about the good faith in your current marriage. We've got the proof of that. We're concerned about the fact that you are permanently barred from ever getting a green card because of your previous relationship. And they had denied them 4 times because of that singular incident. And so how do I know that she made this thing up? Because finally, I think she met Jesus. I don't know. But when they came to her, like, you know what, we're going to, like, you know, like my mom would always say something like you might be where you local, yeah, what kind of thing? Like, you know what, you've got to meet them at their level. Talk to her and see why. Why did you do this? And really, you know, time had passed. She'd become more mature, and she actually, we had her on tape saying, I was angry, and how can I fix this? But damage has been done. This guy's been here, over 10 years. The damage has been done, and we're still on it. And so it is important more than ever for you to document evidence, because you just never know. It's not just about for you to file for VAR. It's about, it's not just about, okay, I'm going to file for VAR, and so let me know. It's about making sure that that spouse does not create a situation for you where you never are able to get a green card, because once USCIS makes a conclusion of a 204C marriage fraud against you, it doesn't matter how much good fit evidence you have in a new case, you will never ever, that person is never ever going to get a green card. That's just the truth of the matter. So it's just it's much easier, much better to make sure you have your evidence from the beginning. If you never have to use it, that's fine. But once you start to see the pattern and traits of someone being manipulative, being in control, wanting to use your immigration status against you, once if you say no to anything, it's always a threat. Start documenting, because it may lead to them, creating a fraudulent situation for you. But if you're able to have evidence that will rebut that allegation, that will be your saving grace, quote unquote. So the more we know, people, you've got to get your evidence. Please. This is happening so often, and don't take it for granted that, you know what, as it's like, well, it depends on how seriously you want to get your papers. But that's something to just be on the lookout for and be aware of, that is happening so often now. And the earlier you start documenting your evidence, the better for you. And that's all she wrote, people. That's all she wrote. Let's go to questions. Okay, where's the glasses? Where's the glasses? I had court today, so I don't think I have seen my glasses yet. Good evening, Ms. Giwa. How are you? Hey, T. You good? Where you going? To raid my kitchen again? No. That's supposed to be a word. Okay. Oh, Lord. Good evening, Miss Gibson. How are you? TJ is doing wonderfully well. Thank you for asking. So, all right. Let's go to TikTok. Let's see. Hello, Delia. How are you? Thank you for always joining me. I appreciate that all the time. Okay, joined. I lost I lost my dad 6 years ago, and I agree with you. May so continue in peace, and yours as well. If they send you a request for evidence application, and if you don't find all the evidence they are asking you for, what would happen? If you've got an alternative to what they're asking, in the sense of a substitute, I should say, that will be, because usually whatever USCIS ask you for something and you don't have the specific evidence, sometimes depending on what it is, they will give you alternatives to what you can submit a substitute to substitute that evidence. So if you've got something that is listed in one of the things listed as an alternative in the request for evidence, then that's good. However, if it's something very specific that they're asking you for, then if you don't submit what it is they're asking you for, then you risk your application or your petition being denied. That's just the truth of the matter. But in cases where if it's denied, sometimes you may have an option to file a motion to reopen. So in that case, if you've not received the actual evidence they're asking you for, and you have an application, for instance, if it's an I-485, for instance, you didn't submit what the exact evidence was requested or notice was requesting, and they deny your case, they would give you the option of filing a 990B motion to reopen. As long as you've got that evidence now, then you stand a higher chance of having that reopened when you file that. But it's always best to avoid getting to that point anyways. I applied for N400 in August. My interview's next week. Is this fast? You're seriously? You're asking if that's fast? You should be very happy. That is awesome. I mean, that is, so that's just about over 2 months. Hopefully everything goes well, and the next time we hear from you, you'll be a citizen. Thank you for sharing. I want to consult with you. James Bond. Okay. Our contact information is 334-341-4475. Same number on WhatsApp, same number. You can send a text directly to that same number. Also, you can send an email to us at info@olalayalawfirm.com, and someone on my staff will be able to get you the information that you need to set up a consultation. 30 minutes, 130, 245 minutes, 231 hour. Oluri, alafia ni shalafia lewa. So yes, the thing is, you will think, if someone says, don't they have to be able to prove the marriage sham marriage thing? Unfortunately, most of the time, USCIS is satisfied with just the statement of the citizen, the petitioner. That is the unfortunate truth. And I'll tell you, that's the same thing that happened in this current case that I currently represent, the husband and wife. All they had was just her sworn statement, because she gave this sworn statement, and yada yada yada, because she went to their office. That's all they had. There was no nothing to show. And that was one of the things that I argued in my response to you, because the one that they had before, they got yet another notice of intent to deny on the 5th case. And one of the things we argued is there's still nothing besides the statements you guys are claiming. There's no exchange of money anywhere. There's no paper trail. There are no phone calls. There's no text messages. There's nothing to show that she was paid $16,000 or whatever the case may be. But based on just that statement is the reason why his all previous cases were denied. And it almost is a violation of due process, because it's like, what if you're going to believe one statement, why would you not believe the other person's statement? But that's just reality of what we're seeing. Usually they don't have anything to say that, well, yes, this is a sham marriage. Most of them is just the statement of the petitioner, and that's just the truth of the matter. That's the truth that we're seeing. If you have 10 years green card through marriage, do you still need the marriage to become a citizen? If you're looking to become a citizen based on being a legal permanent resident for 3 years, then you've got to be married or union with a person. If you're fine with waiting for 5 years, then you don't need to still be married to the citizen. Disclaimer: general information, nothing specific to anyone's case. So this is just general information, general knowledge, so that's it. Okay, let's see. I jumped that. Let me see. Ooh, that jumped. Okay, how do you know there's a 204C against you? One of the best ways to know is to do a FOIA request. Do a FOIA request of your records. Usually they would have it noted in your file. Sometimes you may not know until you have something else that you found. Maybe you get remarried, like in his case, got remarried. They had no clue because the only thing did not do a FOIA request. We did a FOIA request in this case, and it actually was noted on his file that what we didn't. That's one thing. We still don't have the alleged statement, but it was part of the FOIA record in the sense of, because it's part of his record, but they redacted it. And one of the things we submitted was to be able to get access to that. If you're going to, because of the Constitution of the United States says that if you're going to be accused of doing something, a wrongdoing, then you as the accused has a constitutional right to have access to the evidence being used against you. So, yeah. But FOIA request is a way you can find out if you have a 204C against you. I got my 𝒊𝒎𝒂𝒏𝒕 today. I have not done biometrics. How possible this first time I'm applying? That's the same thing I've always said, and I've said it for God knows how many times, that you doing a biometrics has nothing to do. You just proved my point. It's got nothing to do with when they approve your EAD or advanced parole. That's just the truth of the matter. There are a lot of EADs that do not have fingerprints on them, but it doesn't mean that you will still not be scheduled for a biometrics. So it's not unusual that happened. And a question, you don't have to write the question like 200 million times. Wow. Let's see. Always a pleasure having you. Thank you, Undun. Prima facie not get renewed. Am I closer for a decision? That's the only question I can answer. I don't know why your prima facie was not renewed. Okay. After the biometrics, how long does it take to get a security card or work permit? It has nothing to do with the other. If someone on asylum for years, is there any hope of green card soon? If you're still on asylum and you're yet to be interviewed, you have to cross that bridge first. You've got to be interviewed first before you even get to filing a green card case. And a lot of people see it, and whenever I have to file for asylum, that's one of the things you get to know from me. It is taking a long time, just so you prepare your mind. So that lawyer can call to me by 2-3 years. Unless they grant you an expedited interview date, that's just the truth of the matter. Asylum is taking forever. It is taking forever, and that's what's going on. If a person had an assault 4th-degree case, will it cause a problem for immigrant wife paperwork? If you're asking if you are the petitioner with the assault case, that generally, nothing specific to your case, because I don't know anything about your case, generally should not prevent you from filing for your spouse. But as long as that you're talking of you, the petitioner, and not the beneficiary. Someone says, "Are you an immigration lawyer?" Yes. Can you travel with a travel document on VAWA case? Travel document is based on off of your 485, not the VAWA case. But if it's still valid, generally you can. Got 2 misdemeanor charges in the first years of acquiring my green card. Okay, so what's the question? Administratively closed I-485 because priority date is not current, employment based, implication. As long as generally, as long as it wasn't rejected and they're just closing it because you don't have a visa number available, then you still will retain your priority date, and that as long as you filed it when you were still in valid status or no more than 180 days outside of status, then you should still be fine. So that's, I mean, that's it will be, there's no implication. They would just reopen it. So if they sent your closure themselves, then it will be along the line of, we will resume working on your case when the visa number becomes available. So that's usually how that goes. But that's general information. So how can I know if I have committed any crime in the United States? Why would you not know if you've committed a crime in the United States? Like, why would you not know if you committed a crime in the United States? Right? I'm a U.S. citizen. I want to file for my dad and my 2 little sisters green card. How long is it gonna take? USCIS.gov / present time. Also, visa bulletin would help you know what dates they're working on. But as far as your dad is an immediate relative, the one thing I can tell you is his is going to be faster. Your sisters, doesn't matter whether they're little or older, siblings of citizens are taking anywhere from 13 years to 17 years. That's what it is. Can I apply for national interest waiver? It depends on if you qualify. Let's see. Okay, let's go back here. How long is it taking to get a green card through VAWA? As long as, I mean, keep in mind that the green card application will not be adjudicated until the VAWA case has been approved. So that's the biggest determining factor, how long it's going to take you to have your green card through VAWA, because you don't get the 485 adjudicated until the VAWA situation has been solved. But once your VAWA has been approved, based on my firm, what we're seeing anywhere from 4 months to about a year after the vow has been approved. So, what is priority date and where do I find mine? So, priority date applies to those who are in preference categories. Preference categories are everyone else outside of immediate relatives. Immediate relatives are minor children, unmarried minor children, spouses, and parents of citizens. If you don't fall within that category, then everybody else is in preference category. And so where it comes to, so if you just Google visa bulletin, it will bring out the visa bulletin that's released each month, and that will show you what date they're working on. So basically, priority date is the date that USCIS receives your application and or petition. That's what the priority date is, and that determines when you're able to file adjustment of status for the most part. So whether or not you are eligible to adjust status at the point or to apply for an immigrant visa depends on if they've gotten to the date that your case was filed. I hope that helps. Okay, let's go to people on Instagram. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you, everyone. Can you talk about changes to the EB2 national interest rate? What changes? Hello, Mr. Kunli from Indianapolis. How are you? Happy New Month in advance, people. Happy New Month. Y'all, October just blew through. Like, it was like, we just like started October 1st. Like, what the heck what happened? It's like, shh. Thank you. Once again, every single day we get this question, but once again, we represent immigration clients in all states. It doesn't matter what state you live in. In all states, we can represent you regardless of the state that you live in. How long does VAWA take to be approved? Mine has been for 3 years. I've got a client, I think his has been on for 4 years. I'm still waiting on him to send me. Oh, okay. Trying to expedite because, first of all, if you're my client, you already know expediting this it's a new service. It's not something that is already paid. So if you want to do it, we can help you as long as you're willing to pay the extra cost, because it's just what it is. But if I don't think that you have enough reason to expedite, I'll let you know that it's just going to be a waste of time and money. But it's taking too long. What they're averaging now is about 35 months. However, there are some cases that have been approved way less than that. I had one approved in 5 months. The funny thing is this. Funny thing is, in that particular case, we did not ask to expedite that case. So I ain't even going that one. I'm not even touching, as far as I don't even take credit for anything. It's God's name alone be praised. But that specifically, that was just God showing out, and I'm here for it all, because God has to show out and show off every time, every day in my life, in my work. That's what it is. So somebody was praying for him from back home. Yeah, but it just depends. If you have a basis to expedite, then you can always do that. Someone said volume. Don't tell me that y'all have not heard anything I've said on Instagram. I think, okay. Okay, all right, good. Hello, Miss Abena, how are you? Miss Abena, check your email. Check your email. So if you're just joining us, what we talked about tonight was documenting evidence to fight marriage fraud. Making sure you document your evidence as soon as you have issues starting in the marriage. Don't wait for it to get to the point where you don't have any proof, and then you're fighting marriage fraud and not being able to get your VAWA case approved at the same time. Follow, like, subscribe, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mr. Vin. I appreciate that. Sweater. Y'all, I don't know what happened, but in Alabama, right? Yesterday we were in the 70s. Like we were wearing shorts and sleeveless tops. Woke up this morning and it was like, Canada will US. I was like, I'll be damned. Like seriously, it was in the 40s in Alabama. Not only was it it wasn't in the 40s, and it's still, I think we're back in the 40s now, but it was so windy. I thought I was back in Chicago for a moment. I was like, what in God's name? Like we just went from 0 to 100. It wasn't funny. Yeah. I'm telling you. Okay, so everybody had that cold wave. Okay, good. Wasn't just us here. Nigerian prince equals oil well. Y'all, I can't tell you how many times I heard that if people want to marry Nigerian men because they don't have to work anymore. I'm like, okay. Nothing wrong with it, but hey. Yeah, people are mean. Yeah. That I mean, the funny thing is, because like I said, we got her on tape, which luckily he lives in a warm party state. She was actually very remorseful, but the damage has been done. And we don't know, the case is still pending. So we don't know if USCIS is actually going to buy that argument. And because I had to get her, the recording transcribed, and and she actually literally was able to write. But I needed that recording to be done just because you don't know, she may change her mind again. But if somebody's life was changed just based on one statement, and this is him trying to just adjust status and be able to continue, and he's still got 2 kids back home that he wants to bring here, and everything's at a standstill because somebody was scorned, all because he refused to pay for something. I mean, yeah, that's what it is. Hello, Miss Aminat, how are you? Is there a way to file for a parent here on a visit and got seriously ill with ongoing treatment and papers expired? Are you a citizen? If you're a citizen, then you should be able to do that as long as it came in legally. Husband refused to go to interview or went alone with the kids and was given a form, reasons for continuance, case being held for review. What can I do next? Sit down with a lawyer to discuss your case. Let's see. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, Mr. Joseph Reach. How does Dignity Act work? It's not in effect, so there's no point in talking about that. I have a sister that needs to see you urgently. Please, can you give us time to call or visit? Please, she's based in India. She's going to have to set up a consultation. There's no way around that. And if you go on our website, 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, or send us a text. And my girl Lydia does this with me, so she will respond now. But after if you just send a DM, she will respond. But your sister will have to set up a consultation. I don't think I have anything left this week. I think I am completely booked out. But if you go on the website and click the link, she'll be able to see that as well. Some questions: if she's not an immigration lawyer, what should be saying she is? I'm going to pass your question. I heard USCIS has reduced work permit to 2 years. Is that true? Where did you hear that from? They just made it 5 years. We just got 5-year work permits today. Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Finance Jandy. Appreciate that. What if I cannot find? And so, you mean a support sponsor? I'm thinking I'm assuming you're talking about an I-864 affidavit of support sponsor, which your petition has to be. So if you can't find a joint sponsor, you'll have to find one. You'll have to find one. There's no way around that. What if a person falls out of status because of priority date? If you fall out of status because of priority date and you no longer qualify for that category that you were waiting for, then they're not going to take any fault with it. I mean, it is what it is. You already know what the priority date is in order for you to make plans. I don't know any other way to say it, but that's what it is. Okay. Can my sister still apply for VAD despite being denied due to inconsistencies in her interview with her husband and lack of full adequate evidence? That is something that needs to be evaluated by an attorney for her to sit down and talk about her case. It's not a yes or no kind of question. Thank you. Yes, that's the response to that. Hello, Island Girl. What's going on? How long does it take to get your receipts of I-45? It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long for us, depending if you're talking about marriage cases, because I-45 can be linked to VAD, could be linked to asylum, it could be linked to I-140, could be linked to I-130. It just depends on what it is that you filed. If you're talking about marriage cases, it's not taking that long at all. We've gotten receipt notices in less than about 2 weeks for marriage-based cases. Okay, yeah, so it's not taking that long. Did you already talk about priority date? Yes. So you're going to have to play this video back. A friend got green card through VAD September 2022. When can he apply for citizenship? I love all these questions we ask on behalf of our friends. But applying for citizenship is based off of what your eligibility ground is and how long you have been and how long you have to be a legal permanent resident for. It's got nothing to do with how long you've been married to someone. So if you're applying based off of marriage, then you must have been a legal permanent resident for at least 3 years, not married to the person for 3 years. Have your green card for at least 3 years. You're able to file 90 days before the 3rd year anniversary of you being a green card holder. If you are married to a citizen, if you're married to a green card holder, you're going to have to wait for 5 years. If you got your green card through the VAD process and your abuser is a citizen, whether or not you're still married to the person, you will still qualify to get to file for naturalization after 3 years as a green card holder. So hope that helps. Okay. Can someone send his or her forms in even though priority date is not current? If you do, USCIS will reject your case and send it back to you, and you would not retain a date. Because if you're doing that to retain a date, you will not retain a date because there's no visa number available to you in that category, so it's not going to retain a date. And if they accept your application, that will be an erroneous acceptance, and they will turn around. And the law already protects them. Immigration and Nationality Act protects them that if they discover that they've made an error within 5 years, they can go back and revoke whatever application they have approved. So that's the one thing you don't want to take a chance on. My day was good, Island Girl. How was yours? Okay. I think we got to all the questions tonight. And let's see. Yep, I think we did. Hello, Miss Chrissy. How are you? How have you been? Okay. How do you prepare affidavit for customary divorce? By putting things like when it happened, what your full name is, who is the person or whoever is making the affidavit, who they are, how they're related to you, when the customary marriage occurred, when the bride price was returned, if there's any of those returned, when the the gifts, the goods, the yams, the palm oil, the clothes, the whatever were returned to the groom's family, who was present, and how that basically terminates the marriage. And that's all you need as far as customary and or Islamic marriage is concerned. That is wonderful. How have you been? Wonderful, wonderful to know. All right, people. So that was quick. Can you tell I'm energized today? Yeah. I had court today, but I think, yeah, it was, I don't know, maybe because October's end. I don't know, people. It's just a great day. But tomorrow is the first day of a new slate. First day of a clean slate. First day of a new chapter. First day to to get it right again. First day of God's favors in the new month. The year is not over. It's coming to an end, yes, but it's not over. There's still the whole November to come. There's a whole December to come. So you may be thinking, the whole year has gone by. Your prayers have not been answered, but God is a God of the suddenly. He doesn't need any man's time. He does things just like that. God can turn around your life just like that. The things you thought were not making sense or adding up begin to add up just like that. And so it doesn't matter. And I am that person that lied about my marital status in my previous being 1 to 2 times. I filed married instead of single. I'm currently in IR1 stage now, waiting for my interview date. Please will it be a problem? You want to sit down with a lawyer before you have your interview. It's a new month coming up. I'm of the opinion that's the way I live my life. I do not use someone. You cannot use someone else's clock to run your race. We all have our life races that we have to run according to God's timing for us. If you try to run your race with someone else's clock, you're going to miss the mark. That's just the reality of it. You're going to miss the mark. It's impossible to use someone else's clock as your timer. And so the fact that something happened for somebody as soon as the year started and it hasn't happened for you on October 31st does not mean it will not happen for you before December 31st. And it does not mean that you would not get, you never know. Sometimes God may just have those blessings, those breakthroughs that are so enormous that he wants to make sure you are in a position to receive that blessing completely and not, in halfway. So just remember that a new is a possible renew signs will receive notice. That depends on each state. A new month is an opportunity to start afresh, an opportunity to get it right, a clean slate, a new book, a new chapter, to begin to speak favor into your life, to begin to speak goodness, to begin to speak breakthroughs, and stand on the promise that God has made. The Bible says, "None out of his word will pass by without it being accomplished." If you believed him for something from January and you're still expecting, your expectations will not be cut short. They will not be cut off. They will not be cut short, because God has said it, and so shall it be. There's nothing he says that will be done that will not be done. It just sometimes we just have to take a step back and know that it's not going to be done when we want them to be done. They will be done when God decides that those things will align with our destiny, because things have to align with our destiny so that we can come into the fullness of his favor. And I pray that this new month we go into, that God will open up many, yes, last 2 months, only good news, God willing, that he would open up many blessings for us, that our joy will be full and our joy will know no boundaries. All that we have been waiting on, that November will bring us good tidings. November will bring us new joy, new success, new breakthroughs. That before the end of the year, by the end of the year, God will embarrass us with favor beyond human comprehension. It is never too late with God. There's nothing that's too late with him. It happens when God says it would happen. This is something I've had to deal with. It's something I still have to learn. I'm not the most patient person in the world. I can tell you that. So I'm talking from experience because I know patience is hard. But I've come to understand that when things work out, when God decides for them to work out, my blessings are full. So I'm believing that this new month, our blessings will be full. Things that looked impossible will become testimonies. Things that looked like they were dead would begin to resume and have life. So don't give up. It ain't over. The fact that an immigration officer tells you something, that's man talking, that's not God talking. So the fact that somebody says that I was at an interview with a client that I thought even I told him, I said, hey, listen, because he had mentioned the person who's talking about saying you were not married. He had mentioned he was married in his DS-160 and then filed for asylum, filed for bond, and said he wasn't married. The interview was heated. I was almost thrown out of it. But we agreed in faith. And I told him, hey, it looks like we're going down the road of a waiver. But we agreed in faith. When I tell you, y'all, that a week after his green card was approved, he's been a green card holder for 5 months now, living his best life. There's nothing impossible for God to turn around. That's something I have seen over and over and over again. And sometimes it doesn't go the way we want it to go. That's okay. It's not okay because it's not okay in the sense of it's okay to accept failure. No. But because if the plan failed doesn't mean God fails. So just keep believing, keep hoping. And I pray that this month brings us many, many good news that will come together and we'll all come to rejoice and to share in those good news and encourage one another so that as we feed on each other's joy, ours also shall be full. I'll see you guys next time.